Before we start this meeting today, I'd like to turn it over to Mayor Hanwell to say a few comments about the passing of Jim Roberts, our former mayor of the city of Medina. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Honorable Mayor Jim Roberts passed away at about 11:30 yesterday evening, Sunday, February 24th. Jim was the mayor of Medina from 1990 until 2001, 3 terms for a total of 12 years. He was very instrumental in expanding our city parks, implementing community policing initiatives throughout the city, and had a very large heart for doing what he felt was best for the community. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family. The service details are still being planned, and I would respectfully request a moment of silence at this point in honor of Jim Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. Council's prayers go out to his family also. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Rose?
Here.
Shields?
Here.
Simpson? Coyne?
Here.
Hilberg?
Here.
Colasar?
Here.
Lamb?
Here.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the February 11, 2013 regular council meeting as prepared by the clerk be approved as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields?
Yes.
Coyne?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council, and we'll have the next meeting prior to council. The Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's a Safety and Health Committee meeting scheduled for March 19th at 5:30 p.m. I am working on an agenda. Right now I have the pastors of the larger churches coming in attendance to discuss how they are preparing the congregation for any potential attack, and as well as the movie theater. I'm working on getting them too. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Properties has a meeting scheduled for March 13th. It's a Wednesday at 5:30. Our main topic that evening will be discussion of the city pool that is unable to open this year. We need to start talking about what we're going to do as far as improvements or what we need to do to take care of that property. Thank you.
Thank you. Special legislation, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report. No meeting scheduled.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committees, Mr. Simpson. He's not here today, but there is a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, February 26th at 5:30 in the basement. Again, tomorrow at 5:30 in the basement for Streets and Sidewalks. The Water and Utilities Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Water and Utilities had a meeting on February 20th where our city engineer, Patrick Patton, and our service director provided us a proposal for a next 5-year water capital improvement plan, which we went over. And I've asked Patrick Patton to put that 5-year plan on the city website so the public can come out and look and see what the administration has decided with importance of the next 5 years in our water distribution system. Thank you.
Thank you. Request for council action. We have several items for Finance Committee. We have 1331, amending Salaries and Benefits Code, Section 13301 for the Service Department. 1332, budget amendments. 1333, expenditure over $15,000 for the Streets Department. 1334, waiver of special assessment for weeds. 1335, potential BABs redemption refinancing. 1336, repealing Ordinance 19712 and Ordinance 19012. 1337, contract with T&M Associates, U.S. EPA Brownfield Grant. 1338, MCRC part-time pay policy amendment, 3102E. 1339, agreement with Lewis Land Professionals, Historical District water line replacement. 1340, 406 South Broadway property, Medina Creative Housing. And 1341, Advanced General Fund to Grants Fund. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Sunday, February 17th, Stop and Go had a 50th anniversary celebration at Weymouth Country Club. I'd like to offer the city's congratulations and thanks to founder Carl Abel and his family, as well as the CEO, Becky and Frank Shotwell, and their children who are continuing to run the stop-and-go stores in the Medina community, the county, and even some of the surrounding counties. And the day of serving is being planned with local pastors and churches to host another day of serving. We did one last year. This one's called Love Medina on May 4th. Local churches will gather volunteers. Letters were sent out to our group of seniors and disabled residents taking part in the snowplow program, and we've got a number of those requests returned already. If council comes across folks that are interested in some assistance or somebody that may benefit from this, please contact Dawn at our office, and or her email is dconwell@medinaoh.org, and she has an application request form. The supplies for the projects need to be provided by the residents, and then all the labor is provided by the churches. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, the budget and five-year plan process for the 2014 to 2018 plan is already underway on the administrative side. I provided a revenue estimate to the relevant departments for the 500 funds. The proprietary funds are called enterprise funds, and gave the sheets to those department heads. The worksheets are out on the finance department's website, so that's already being worked on. Second is the request for council action that was mentioned earlier on the BABs. Those are Build America bonds. It was part of the Stimulus Act a few years ago, and we may have an opportunity to look at a refinancing there, so we discussed that at finance, and I'll be bringing more information to council on that. Finally, I have an announcement on my usual announcement on city income tax. City residents are required to file Medina City income tax returns. We do have 4 opportunities that any resident can get free assistance from CCA on filing those returns. The first of those is Saturday, March 2nd from 9 to 4. Second is Tuesday, March 12th from 1 to 8. Then we have Wednesday, April 3rd from 1 to 8. And finally, Saturday, April 13th from 9 to 4. All those are at the Rec Center on Weymouth Road. If you need help with your forms, CCA will be there at those times, and you can get free assistance with the tax forms. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Verducci, Police Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to make one comment about Jim Roberts. I have fond memories of him from when I was a young man and new to Medina, and my children were young. And he used to come to the ballpark and cook hot dogs for the kids on Saturday. And he just always seemed to really enjoy being the mayor. He enjoyed the kids. He enjoyed the community. And we'll keep him and his family in our prayers.
Thank you. Ms. Rice, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Hannon, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to note that our next boards and commissions will be on Thursday, March the 14th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. An update on some of our construction projects. We currently have 3 projects out to bid. They're all at Ray Mallard Park. That is the fitness trail, splash pad, and the public restroom filter building. All 3 of those bids will be accepted and opened on Wednesday, March 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
Sorry, last week's ice and sleet storm proved to be a little burdensome for the city. Crews were out at 5 a.m. mitigating an ice hazard. Then we would receive rain, it'd wash the salt, and the crews would go back out, and with more freezing rain. Overall, the crews did an excellent job. From the last calculations that were available, we have utilized approximately 2,750 tons of salt, which equates to $105,050 at a cost of $38.20 per ton. So we're still ahead of the game. Thank you.
Thank you. Confirmation of mayoral appointments. We have the Rec Center Advisory Committee. We have Ron Ross for a term expiring 12/31/13.
Move to approve the mayoral's appointment for the Rec Center Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
And we have the Shade Tree Commission. We have Rick Melzer, term expiring 12/31/16.
Move to approve the mayoral appointment for Shade Tree Commission.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Notices, communications, and petitions. There's none. Unfinished business. None. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a voted majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance 23-13, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one Chevrolet Impala from Taylor Chevrolet to be used by the municipal court.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested, and I move to add that at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Is there any discussion on the ordinance or emergency clause? I guess I could touch on this. This is a purchase for the bailiffs, I believe, at the Muni Court as part of their 5-year budget. I think the current car is ending the useful life, and so they need to get a new one.
I believe the emergency clause is because it's going to be part of state bid.
Yes, that's correct. So the emergency clause has been requested because of state bid. Any other questions or comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 23-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 24-13, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one Rover X long-range pipe inspector crawler camera from Best Equipment Co. for the street department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Piccoli, can you explain this one?
I will. Thank you, Mr. President. The use of video camera line inspection will enhance our ability to locate blockages as well as damages within our infrastructure. Ultimately, we hope to save time in excavations and the cost as well with repairs and replacements. The item's been discussed thoroughly for many months. The street superintendent has researched it. City storm system is equipped with over 1,400 inlet basins as well as 680 manholes. We have approximately 200 miles of storm pipe as well. I'm confident the residents and the businesses will be served well by this purchase. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 24-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 25-13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute preliminary legislation with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, for the completion of State Route 18 and State Route 57 urban paving project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause and ordinance? Mr. Patton?
Thank you, Mr. President. As described in the title, this ordinance is an agreement between the city and ODOT for the resurfacing of State Route 18 and 57 in the city for later on this summer. ODOT process requires 2 pieces of legislation, this preliminary legislation, and then shortly before the project is put out to bid, there'll be a final legislation. At that point, the city will be responsible for submitting our share of the cost of this project. In general, it's a 20% city cost to 80% ODOT for the resurfacing project.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 25-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 26-13, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for West Smith Road reconstruction project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Patton?
Thank you. This will be our biggest capital improvement project for 2013. It's the reconstruction of West Smith Road from Lake Road to the railroad tracks, the double set of railroad tracks that are located about midway between Lake and State. This project, the current estimate is a little over $2.8 million, will consist of the complete removal and then reconstruction of the existing pavement. Pavement will be widened to accommodate a center turn lane. There'll be new water lines and storm sewers. The funds for this project are primarily by the city, but we do have a $330,000 grant from the Ohio Public Works Commission and $240,000 from ODOT Office of Jobs and Commerce. That money is specifically designed to pay for the cost to the center turn lane that will be added, the widened pavement.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 26-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 27-13, an ordinance amending Section 3102 and Section 3105 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the Sanitation and Parks and Recreation Departments.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance? Mr. Pacoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance is the result of restructuring in sanitation in adjusting personnel in agreement with the Teamsters Union. The changes are necessary in keeping with the workload in the day-to-day operations of sanitation. The emergency clause has been requested due to personnel currently in the positions, and the transfers have been made as allowable in the Teamsters contract with the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 27-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 28-13, an ordinance amending Section 3103 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the Law Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested, and I had to move to add it at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause and or the ordinance. Mr. Huber?
This ordinance, I'm requesting so that I'm able to hire Attorney Kevin Dunn to replace Attorney Art Foth, who passed away last August. This is the assistant prosecutor position. I requested the emergency clause, as what this does is increase the salary by $5,000, and this was supposed to take effect January 1st, 2013.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 28-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 29-13, an ordinance amending Rule 6J of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations of the City of Medina relative to the method of grading.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause or the ordinance? Mayor Hamwell?
Yes, sir. The civil service has, in the past, provided additional points after the completion of the testing process to be added to the final grade for certifications, such as having police officer training, having military training, and having certain educational backgrounds that are directly related to the job. But that was not included in our rules and regulations. So this amends that Rule 6, subsection J, to permit them to do what has been done previously. And the emergency clause is requested because we're in the process of testing for the police department vacancies at this time.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 29-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 30-13, an ordinance amending ordinance number 153-12, passed August 27, 2012, relative to bids for the construction of Champion Creek Multipurpose Trail parking lot at 406 South Broadway.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Seems like we have a lot of emergency clause today.
We do.
Any discussion on the emergency clause or
John
ordinance?
Wetzel when you need him.
Mr. Patton.
Thank you. Earlier, Council had approved $50,000 for the installation of the parking lot at the Champion Creek Multipurpose Trail there at South Broadway. Upon completion of our path, we had a surplus of money left over, and with hopes in using that money, because it was grant funds, we came to Council and asked them to consider increasing the size of the parking lot from 6 stalls, I believe, to 12. And this project, this ordinance will allow us to do that by increasing the cost of the project. Again, I'd emphasize it's grant funds. I'd note that the emergency clause is requested because we do have a grant deadline, so we'd like to get this bid as soon as possible.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment?
Mr. President,
Mr. Colzar?
I just want to briefly thank the administration, the Community Development Department, the Engineering Department, and other council members that have all put their efforts in here to make this trailhead and trail something special in our community. And, I really appreciate everybody's hard work on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion or ordinance? Clerk please call the roll on the ordinance.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 30-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 31-13, an ordinance amending ordinance number 213-12, passed December 10th, 2012, amendments to the 2013 budgets.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's 3 items in here. The first is a transfer within the police department from the police patrol division to the police special division. The other 2 are to cover the EPA Brownfield grant, which is also the subject of the next ordinance.
Thank you. Further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 31-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 32-13, an ordinance authorizing the finance director to make certain fund advances.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is what I referred to with the last ordinance. This is an advance. We advance the money, which is an internal loan. We loan it from the general fund to the grant fund, expend it, and then it will be repaid by the EPA for this grant.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 32-13 passes 6-0.
We have a request to add ordinance 33-13 and 34-13 to the agenda.
Move to add ordinance 3313 and ordinance 3413 to the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion on the additions? Will the clerk please call the roll on the additions?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Ordinance 33-13, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 197-12 passed November 13, 2012, relative to amending and replacing Part 11, the Planning and Zoning Code, and the zoning map of the City of Medina, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add this at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Hannon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, these were the zoning code and fee schedule updates completed by city staff last year and reviewed by City Council in November. In review of the public notice procedures completed for the zoning code and fee schedule amendments, the law department has determined that additional public notice was needed. Staff is requesting repealing these amendments to complete the additional public notice requirements, including notice to individual property owners, and then return to council within the next couple of months. The emergency clause is being requested so that the process can be completed in a timely manner, and to minimize any confusion with potential applicants and property owners. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 33-13 passes 6-0.
Ordinance 34-13, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 190-12, passed October 22nd, 2012, relative to the fee schedule for the Planning and Zoning Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Mr. Hannan, discussion on the emergency clause and ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is ordinance is related to the fee schedule, which is part of the zoning code. So this actually is intertwined with ordinance 3313 and will be resubmitted as a joint ordinance in the coming months.
Thank you. Again, the emergency clause has been requested for the same reason. Is there any further discussion on the emergency clause or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 34-13 passes 6-0.
Council comments.
Mr. President,
Mr. Colzar.
I just want to personally send my condolences out to the Roberts family. Mayor Roberts, I distinctly remember back in high school when he came out and spoke to our senior class and showed so much passion for our community. And even after graduating high school and coming here and attending council meetings, he truly had a passion for our city and enjoyed his job, enjoyed dealing with the public, and he, I feel, made a great impact on this community, and he will be sadly missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further council comments? Mr. Lamb?
I have two. First of all, I want to acknowledge the work that the mayor's administration did to help to move the barn reuse along. And things don't happen. You can't do anything here by yourself. And it was very impressive, I think, the way the cooperative effort of both the planning director, the engineer, recreation director, and the building inspector came together to try to help work that plan out. It speaks well of the mayor, and it speaks well of his administration, clearly. And I also want to give my condolences to Mayor Roberts' family. I guess as you get older, you realize that life happens, and there comes a time when things move into your memory, and Mayor Roberts is one of those. I had the opportunity to meet Jim Roberts first year I came here to Medina to teach school. He was the president of PTA, and he and I worked together on a school carnival. And the next time I met him, he was my neighbor, and then he was a city councilman, and then he was a mayor, and then he went back to being a neighbor. And in my memory now, and I think in our community memory, I think that Jim Roberts' life best exemplifies a life of public service, and that's how I would remember him. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further council comments? I have one. The Ward 2 meeting is scheduled for next Monday, March 4th, at 7 p.m. at the Claggett Middle School, which is at 420 East Union Street. Hopefully everybody can attend from Ward 2. I know Denny Simpson's not here, but we look forward to seeing everybody there. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.